In one of my previous videos I show how to make such a birchbark container from a DIY set. Well, I also said that it's very difficult to find good birchbark here in Denmark, so I thought, why not try to make one out of leather? So this video is about making such a container, not from birchbark, from leather. Hope you enjoy. And first I have to make a template, and I'm using approximately the same size as the birchbark container. I have to measure it out, so it's going to be exactly the same, and I actually made a template that you can see in the end of this video, where I have all the measurements. And yeah, I also have it on my website, PNWbushcraft.com. But here you can see I made the markings for where the holes are going to be, and there's 3 in the one end and 4 in the other ends. And I'll show it later why it's made like this. And in the end, where the 4 holes are, I'm going to cut them. So I make these markings where I'm going to cut them. You can see here 4 and 3 holes. And I use such one to make the holes. They are approximately 16 millimeters in diameter. And see here, I hammer it down so that the holes are made. Of course, on both ends. You can cut this out with a sharp knife if you don't have such a hole puncher. And then I cut like this in the end, where I'm going to put it into the other sides. You see that in a moment, and it should look like this. So the 3 flaps can be set into the holes on the other sides, like this. Yeah, and you can see it fits nicely. So then I'd pull it apart again, because I have to transfer it to the piece of leather. And the leather I'm using is approximately 2 millimeters thick, and yeah, I use my tools for leather working, a sharp knife and a ruler out of metal. Yeah, and then I have to punch the holes. And after that, you can see how it should look now. Yeah. Then again, I cut the holes here in the middle with a sharp knife. And then I'm finished with the container, and I have to try to see if it fits. Always checking if your measurements are correct. That's very important. You can see I bent the leather here. It's much easier than with the birchbark. The leather won't be ripped apart, and you can mold it in. So yeah, it looks great, I think. So then again, I pull it apart, and then I use some sandpaper and sand it down. I use a machine for this, but you can use the hands if you want to. Sand it in both ends, so it's going to be thinner there, so that the transition between the leather is more smooth. Thin in the ends and around the holes. You can see here. And then I try to assemble it again. And it's very smooth now. Then I'm going to make the rims, and I measure it here, and again I have a template where you can see the measurements. And then I cut it out from the piece of leather. And again, check before you cut, so that it will fit nicely. See here? And you can see the difference in the color of the leather. And it's because I like to sand my leather on the surface, so it's not glossy but matte. I like that finish. And then again, I use sandpaper, sand it down, especially in the ends. And then they are again a little bit smaller in the ends. Yeah. And then I'm going to make the bottom. I measure it here, and make a template again in the correct size. Does it fit? Yeah. Cut it out with a scissor. And again, checking. Does it look all right? Yeah, I think so. Then I just have to make a piece of wood that is in that size. And you can see here, it fits nicely. Then I'm going to make the markings on the rims, so where I'm going to make the holes for the stitching or the weaving. And it's 5 millimeters down and 10 millimeters apart. And then I have the markings there. And that's where I'm going to make the holes with this a little bit later. First I have to put it on, see if it's okay. Yeah. And then I apply some glue, and this is what we call contact glue in Denmark. You have to glue each side, and then let it dry for a couple of minutes. And then you can put it on like this, and then on the other end too. And now I'm beginning to make the holes after the markings I made on the leather. Using such a plier is the most easy way to do it, but you could probably use other tools. Yeah. Then I'm making these strips, leather strips or straps, and they're going to be 80 centimeters long approximately. And then I'm starting to weave it in or sew it. and you have to be it has to be tight there. So pull it tight all the way around on both ends. And here you can see how it should look at this stage. Then I apply some leather color, leather dye, and use something that's called tan. The color is tan. It's a light brown color that I like and use for many of my projects. And again, you have to be sure that the color is all over the leather, both outside and inside. And after it's dry, it looks like this. And yeah, I'm going to set in the bottom. And I apply a little bit of glue on the inside. Remember, this is going to be the bottom, the downside. And applying glue on both of the items. And then turn it around, and it's easier to put the bottom in from the top. And then you just have a stick, and you can punch it down so it has the right distance to the rim. Yeah. You can see here small adjustments, and now it's finished in this end. Then I'm going to make the top or the lid. I use the same templates, but making it a little bit bigger at the top. It's going to be conical, so it will be pressed down and it will hold itself in place. Like this. To put some leather on the top, the lid, so I just have to glue that on. First glue on the wood. You can use the wood as it is. It's beautiful too, but I like the look of the leather. So after it's dried, you can put it together and put something heavy on it so it'll stay there. And when it's dry, I just cut it out with a sharp knife. Like this. And then I want to make something special for the top, and I have a piece of antler that I'm going to work on, and after that it look like this. You see here a little hole in the bottom where I put this one in. Of course I'm going to glue it, and a little hole there, so yeah. But before I glue it together, I will add some color for the lid too. Yeah. And now we are almost finished. You can see here. I think it looks cool. A nice little container. Easy to make if you are having trouble with the birch bark. Leather is much more easy to work with, and I think it looks nice. And I can store things in here that I bring with me on my Viking hikes. So, hope you like this little container, and perhaps you will be inspired to make something like that or similar. And here's the templates. And again, I put the template on my website, PNWbushcraft.com. Yeah, and then I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye bye, take care.